whatever they say, they expect us to take in the way they intended it. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to the Bible, there can be a lot more mushiness in there. And I think that's just illegitimate. That's not the case.
Here being in the state of Utah, which, has a lot of like LDS and stuff.
Sure.
I think that it's kind of been drilled in that the Bible just has so many different translations and that it's all about interpretation. When I've spoken to like some family members and things like that about it, I guess my question is like, how would you bring up the truth about the interpretations? So like if I bring up a verse about the Trinity, it's again all about how you interpret it. So
I would say that person, so you're saying it's not about how I interpret it. And what's that person going to say? No, it is about how you interpret it. Well, the way I'm interpreting you is it's not about how I interpret it. Why is it that when you interpret the Bible, it's relative and it can be whatever you want it to be, but when we interpret the person saying that it's all about interpretation, they don't allow us to interpret what they say any way we want. Mm-hmm. You notice that? In other words, they want us to take their words at face value, but when we come to the Bible, we don't have to take the Bible at face value or the proper way it is interpreted. Okay, so I would point out that whatever they say, they expect us to take in the way they intended it, but when it comes to the Bible, there can be a lot more mushiness in there, and I think that's just illegitimate. That's not the case. But I will say, they are right. There are some passages that are difficult to interpret. Mm-hmm. And we have a course that we run online called How to Interpret Your Bible. Let me give you the guts of the course in 1 minute. Whenever I come to a passage, I'm going to stop. And what does stop mean? Stop is an acronym, S-T-O-P. The first thing I need to know is the situation. What's going on in this passage? Who is this passage written to? What's it about? What's the situation on the ground, right? Mm-hmm. I want to know what the situation is because I want to understand why the writer was writing this. The T stands for what type of literature? Is this law? Is this poetry? Is this prophecy? Is this parable? What is this? Because you're going to interpret differently poetry than you would say law or history, right? The O stands for who's the object of the passage. Is this written to us? And the P is this prescriptive or descriptive? There's a lot of descriptions in the Bible that aren't prescriptions. So I think generally, if you figure out the situation, the type of literature, who is the object of the passage, and is it prescriptive or descriptive, 95% of the time you're going to know exactly what it means.